Once more, Jesus spoke to them in parables, saying, "The kingdom of heaven may be compared to a king who gave a wedding banquet for his son. He sent his slaves to call those who had been invited to the wedding banquet, but they would not come. Again, he sent other slaves, saying, 'Tell those who have been invited, look, I have prepared my dinner, my oxen and my fat calves have been slaughtered, and everything is ready. Come to the wedding banquet.' But they made light of it and went away, one to his farm, another to his business, while the rest seized his slaves, mistreated them, and killed them. The king was enraged. He sent his troops, destroyed those murderers, and burned their city. Then he said to his slaves, 'The wedding is ready, but those invited were not worthy. Go therefore into the main street and invite everyone you find to the wedding banquet.' Those slaves went out into the streets and gathered all whom they found, both good and bad, so the wedding hall was filled with guests. But when the king came in to see the guests, he noticed a man there who was not wearing a wedding robe. And he said to him, 'Friend, how did you get in here without a robe?' And he was speechless. Then the king said to the attendants, 'Bind him hand and foot, and throw him into the outer darkness, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. For many are called, but few are chosen.'" The gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, O Christ. Be seated, please. There was a family that moved into a neighborhood right next to this little quaint country church. The members of the church next door decided to reach out to the family. When they arrived at the doorstep, they were surprised to find that the family had 12 kids and they seemed kind of poor. They invited the family to church and said goodbye. But later in the week, the members from the church delivered a package to the family and said, "We want you to know that you and your entire family are welcome at our church anytime. We have bought you these gifts and we want you to feel comfortable and at ease in our congregation." The family opened the package to find 14 outfits, beautiful clothes for every member of the family. Sunday came and the congregation waited and waited for the family, but they never showed up at the church. Wondering what would have possibly have happened, after lunch, few members of the church returned to the family's home and found them just getting back, all dressed up in their new clothes. We don't mean to be nosy or anything, but we were just wondering, what happened since you never showed up at church this morning? We had hoped to see you this morning, and we're disappointed not to see you. The father spoke up and he said, "Well, we got up this morning, and we were intending to come, and we certainly appreciate your invitation to come. But after we had showered and shaved and dressed, we thought we looked so proper that we decided we should go to the Episcopal Church." The quote, "80% of life is just showing up," often is attributed to the actor Woody Allen. And whilst there may be lots of truth to that saying, what really matters in life is what we do after we show up. Just showing up on your wedding day doesn't really build a living, loving, mortgage-paying, children-challenged, lifetime relationship. Just showing up at the birth of your child might make you a parent, but it doesn't make you an up all night serving as a taxi driver, helping with homework, and saving for college kind of mom and dad. Just showing up at church once in a while might make me a good member in a good standing. But as G.K. Chesterton said, just going to church doesn't make you a Christian any more than standing in your garage makes you a car. In In Jesus' wedding banquet parable, the first group of invitees reject the invitation rudely and cruelly and ultimately murderously. The religious authorities in Jerusalem opposed Jesus' presence and wanted to maintain the status quo. The chief priests wanted to continue the lucrative temple business of daily sacrifices, rituals, and routines. The Pharisees were in love with and committed to a routinized morality, prescribed by their devotion to the details of the written law or Torah. Neither group will imagine the possibility that there might be some truth in what Jesus was teaching, and therefore they were unable to respond to his invitation. They do more than only reject the invitation, they kill the messenger who brings them the invitation. The second group of invitees includes everyone, but the invitation comes with expectation, not the expectation of perfection, but of clothing. Clothing, you might remember, is a common metaphor in New Testament, and it is being used for spiritual change, a change of mind, a change of heart, change of spirit. God the King invites us to the wedding banquet. We are all invited, whether the world judges us to be good or bad, worthy or unworthy. The invitation is without restrictions. But that does not mean that the invitation comes without expectations. All are invited to the divine wedding banquet because of Jesus Christ. But there are requirements. We cannot remain unchanged when we enter the party. We cannot keep wearing the same old clothes of indifference, prejudice, judgment, anger, hatred, coldness that were worn before we entered the party. We are required by the grace of the host of the party to dress up for the party and put on compassion, kindness, humility, gentleness, and patience. It takes commitment to change that which is more than just skin deep. God invites us to a party, to celebrate and enjoy for ourselves and for others. It is not just enough to show up at the party. It is called to joining the party. To join the party, that is to celebrate with the host and with the other guests. We are invited to enjoy the party God has created for us as He created everything, including us people, to join that party. God wants us to enjoy, to share, to bear fruit, change our very selves, and change the world. The chief priests and the Pharisees were stuck in a rut and could see their way as the only way to have right relationship with God. The danger can lurk around the corner for that danger can lurk around the corner for anyone. Although I must say that for us Lutheran, there is no excuse for that kind of rottenness. As one of the Reformation principles was that the idea of salvation to belongs all people regardless of their denomination. Yes, in this life, we might experience a lot of suffering, loss, illness, hardship, and difficult times. Yet for us who claim the party affiliation of Christ the King, Nothing can take away the joy we have when we are part of the banquet God has invited us to. For no matter what life brings us, the joy we experience here on earth is just a foretaste of the feast to come. God invites us to the party, but God also enjoins us to bring something to the party, our very selves. Our stories, our joys and our sorrows, our strengths and our weaknesses, our possibilities, our gifts of time and talent and treasure. God wants to use it all for the growth of the kingdom. As full participants of the banquet of the kingdom, we both enjoy and become the presence of God here on earth. We experience the fulfillment that comes from joining the procession of that kingdom. So let us not just show up at the party, but join the party, rejoice and celebrate in it with all that we are and with all that we have. Let us party. Amen.